Welcome to the Game Historian panel, 2017 Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Welcome. Whoa, that was cool. Front row, that was really cool. It's great to be here. This is definitely my favorite video game convention of the year, and I love the city of Portland. You guys have really good food. Really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's been raining, but you know, it's not bad. I'm from Kansas City. It's still hot there right now. Yeah, get up to Kansas City. Kansas City. But yeah, it's great to be here. So we're gonna do a little topic. We have 45 minutes. We're gonna talk about a topic. We're gonna do some Jeopardy, like we do, and then we'll wrap it up with a little Q&A. You guys can enjoy the rest of the show. I just said all that. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the show. We're going to do a live episode, and by the way, this live episode has some mature content in it. I'm going to warn you. Too hot for YouTube. So this is just a fair warning if there are any children in the audience. There will be, basically we'll be talking about some sexual content. Just words, there's no images, they're not going to see anything. No, I'm not going to play pornography at my panel. And then we're going to do Jeopardy. All the answers are from Game Historian show. So if you watch the show, you'll do pretty well. I made the questions a little easier this year. I had some complaints that they were too hard, so I softened them a little. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get started. So you're probably wondering, what in the world is he going to talk about that's mature content? You know, I'm like, G-rated on YouTube. What could he possibly talk about? Well, what do you guys know about this? Yeah. So we're going to talk about the hot coffee mod, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So again, we are going to talk about some sexual scenes. It's not going to get too controversial, but again, just want to give you a heads up. So let me tell you about my experience with the hot coffee mod. Not like that. Not like that. I was working at GameStop from 2005 to 2009. One of the worst jobs I've ever had. But anyway, I had a lot of teen boys who would come in and be like, "Hey, I want San Andreas. I want the hot coffee on it." So there's some misconceptions. A lot of people thought hot coffee was like a cheat code. You put in this cheat code and you can like unlock these sex scenes. It was only for the PC version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and it was a modification you had to download and install in the game. So those poor teen boys buying the PS2 version, they weren't going to see anything. So Grand Theft Auto this series is always trying to push boundaries, be controversial. San Andreas was no exception. It has sold more than 27 million copies since it came out. It's the best-selling PS2 game of all time. But when they were making it, they added these scenes where you can have sex with your girlfriend in the game. The main character, you can have all these girlfriends in the game, and they would invite you in for coffee, and you guys would have sex. But the problem is, when you make a game with sex scenes in it, you have to deal with the ESRB. And if you have sexual content in your game, especially that sexual content, you're going to get an adult-only rating. So Rockstar wanted these edgy sex scenes, but they also wanted to make money, because when you have a game rated adult-only, there's some retailers, well, most retailers, are not going to sell your game. Walmart, Best Buy, and when it was still around, Circuit City, refused to sell games rated adult-only. So, Rockstar wants to make a controversial game, but they want to make a lot of money. So senior management at Rockstar said, okay, we need to get rid of the sex scenes because we need to make sure our game is rated M for mature and not adult only. This guy, Sam Houser, did not like that. He is the Rockstar CEO. He founded Rockstar. and he thought retailers were morons and hypocrites. He did not agree that they should remove the sex scenes. Yeah, that's quite a quote there. So he said, you know, it's hypocritical, you know, freedom of speech in the U.S., you're invading Iraq and Afghanistan, and, you know, you're spreading your freedom of speech, but you don't want to have a sex scene in a video game. They not only had sex, they had the sex scenes, but those scenes also had mini games in those scenes. So, yeah, there was like mini games you could play along during the scene. He wanted to keep them all in. He had, there was sex, oral sex, masturbation, you could kill someone with a dildo, there was whipping, all this stuff. But again, you want to make money, and so the sex scenes had to go. So they had two options. You can either delete those scenes, or you can what's called wrap those scenes. So in programming, I'm not an expert programmer, but when you delete code, usually you have to go through all of the code and make sure everything that references that part of the code is gone, and you know everything's cleaned up and whatnot. But that would take a lot of time and a lot of resources, and they were approaching the deadline to release San Andreas. There's a soundtrack to this. Or you could wrap the code. Wrapping the code basically blocks access to that part of the code. So that's way easier. So they said, okay, we'll just wrap the code, and then no one can access it. So they submitted the game to the ESRB, and they didn't tell them about the sex scenes because it was wrapped, and they were like, well, no one can access it anyway. Why do we need to tell the ESRB about it? And the ESRB is not going to look at programming code. They're just going to play through the game and judge it accordingly. And we'll get back to that here in a minute. So they submitted the game to the ESRB, it came out, it was a huge success, and everyone was buying San Andreas. It had an M rating, flew off the shelves, everyone's happy, la-di-da. But then you have a guy named Patrick Wildenborg. He's from the Netherlands. And Patrick Wildenborg, he was a huge GTA fan. He was a software engineer, and so he started playing Grand Theft Auto with Vice City. And in Vice City, your character can only own 4 vehicles. Well, he didn't like that, so he made a mod for the PC version of Vice City where he could store 400 vehicles. So he was part of this online modding community for Grand Theft Auto, and he was super excited for San Andreas. So, because he wanted to make some mods for it. He knew he was going to make mods. So when it came out in North America first, and so his buddy sent him the PS2 version of the game so he could play through the game, get used to it, and maybe he could study some of the files in the game and look at them. Because actually when you put a PS2 disc in your computer, you can look at all the files, you can't modify them or anything, but so he started looking through them and he saw these file names that were kind of weird. So one of them, there was a file name called sex. And there's a file name called blowjob, and there's a file name called S&M. And he was like, well, that's weird, but maybe it's just them playing a joke. Rockstar has adult humor. Maybe they're just naming files like this. Well, another modder actually was able to take those files, and he had a program that could animate what's going on in the file, and so they saw these characters having sex. It was just like a movie. They were watching it and they were like, what in the world? This is not anywhere in the game, because they played through the entire game on PS2 and that scene did not exist. So they were like, well, maybe it's just like a deleted scene. So all they could do was hope that when the PC version came out, that Rockstar just did not touch anything. Because when the PC version comes out, they can access the files, they can modify them, they can make their mods and whatnot. Well, Rockstar releases a PC version of the game, and they did exactly what the modders hoped. The code was still there, nothing had changed. So within a few hours of getting it, Patrick Wildenborg modified the files and found out how you could access it, and he created the mod and he called it Hot Coffee. And it's called Hot Coffee because when your girlfriend invites you in for coffee, that's how the scene occurs. So he shared it online. It was downloaded 1 million times in a week. And it was all over the news. It was a big deal. This man was very upset by it. This is Senator Leland Yee of California. When the news came out about these sex scenes, he really rallied against the ESRB. He said the ESRB and the games industry, they work together, they can't be trusted, they can't, there's too much bias there, they can help each other out, and they don't have our children's best interests. They have money on their mind. Fun fact, anyone know what Senator Leland Yee is doing now? He's in prison. He's in prison for gun trafficking. It's very, very, very Grand Theft Auto. So the hot coffee mod not only was going to get Rockstar in trouble, but it also threatened the existence of the ESRB, and that's a big deal because the ESRB is an independent organization. They're not run by the government. And you know, when you're creating art like a video game or a painting or movie and music, you don't want the government to get involved with that. Bad things can happen. So you know, all the news, all the big gaming news sites were asking Rockstar, hey, what's going on with these sex scenes in this game? Well, Rockstar kind of panicked, and they basically lied. And they just said, oh, well, this modder, he hacked the game, and he created these sex scenes. We didn't do this. You know, it's just a typical modder, you know, whatever. It's nothing we did. So the ESRB did an investigation. They wanted to find out, okay, did the modders do this, or did Rockstar actually have this in the game? Well, the investigation lasted less than a week. And the game was changed from mature to adults only. And when they interviewed Patrick Wildenborg, the ESRB talked to Patrick Wildenborg, and they said, did you change anything? And he said, no, all I did was basically flip a light switch, which is true. All he did was, you know, here you can access this code now. And that's it. And so the ESRB found that Rockstar lied, and they had to change the game's rating. So they gave them some options. First of all, they had to re-sticker all their existing inventory for mature to adults only. And they also had to exchange all of those for all the unsold inventory from you know, the dirty version, and they had to exchange it for a clean version of San Andreas. A clean version of Grand Theft Auto. They also had to make a downloadable patch that would make the game inoperable. And overall, Take-Two Software, which publishes these games, it cost them about $25 million, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. I think they got off pretty easily. It also changed the way the ESRB rated games. In the same time the ESRB found out about all this, they announced that they would require all game publishers to submit all pertinent content when it was going to get rated, even if you can't access it. So, in the future, if they wanted to hide a sex scene and they didn't disclose it, they would get in a lot of trouble. This also got the government involved. The government said, you know, this is just terrible. Our kids are playing these games and they're hiding this stuff on the disc. And so the FTC investigated, and they kind of united Republicans and Democrats on this, which is rare. But Senator Hillary Clinton, she was a senator at the time, she tried to push a bill that would basically make it illegal for a game store clerk to sell a mature rated game to a minor. And if that happened, they would be possibly sent to jail or fined $1,000. The bill never went anywhere. And then in California, they actually did pass a law to ban the sale of mature rated games. Sorry, not mature, adult-only games. But it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court struck it down and said, you know, video games have the same rights as music, movies, art, you know. So you can't dictate what you can and cannot sell. But Rockstar, it's funny. They never forgot like what happened with all this. Has anyone played Grand Theft Auto 4 and you guys remember the Statue of Happiness? So the Statue of Happiness, it's like the Statue of Liberty, but it looks just like Hillary Clinton. Exactly like Hillary Clinton. And also, she's not holding up a torch, she's holding a cup of coffee. It's true. So there you go. That is that's the gist of the hot coffee mod. And of course, Grand Theft Auto is still a huge franchise to this day. One interesting note that Patrick Wildenborg had, who created this mod, he thought it was strange that you can do all these horrible things in this game. You can kill innocent people and run people over, set them on fire, and you can pick up a prostitute and kill her and take her money and do all these horrible things. But when two consenting adults have sex in this game, that's when it goes over the edge. And I agree with that. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, you've seen, like, do you remember when Mass Effect came out and Fox News was like, oh my god, you can have sex with an alien in this game. Yeah. So, anyway, I thought Patrick Wildenborg had a good point. Here's my shameless plug. If you want to learn more about the hot coffee mod, that is the exclusive episode on the Game Historian Volume 1 on Blu-ray. I do have this for sale at my table, if you're interested. The episode's about 25 minutes long, and it goes into a lot more detail. So yeah, that's my shameless plug. Does anyone have any questions about hot coffee? Not the drink, but like what we're just talking about. Yeah, right here.
Did that affect the console versions?
It did. So they had to pull all, because the code was in the console versions as well, so they had to pull all of those as well and exchange them. And if you go on eBay, you'll see people selling San Andreas hot coffee version, and it's like the PS2, even though you can't access it. But it's like a collectible item now. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, the ESRB fined them like $10,000. It was like nothing. And but again, the ESRB didn't really have any guidelines for this situation, so they changed their rules because of it. And re-stickering all your inventory and exchanging everything, that's really what cost Take-Two Interactive all that money. Anyone else? The corner there. Yes. I do not. So it's true, like you didn't download the pet, you could block access from the game from connecting to the internet. You could still play it, but the scenes are stupid anyway. All right, okay, when I made this video, I had to watch all of them, and they're terrible. Like, it's silly, like looking at it today, because it's like PS2 polygon characters, and they're fully clothed, and they're just like dry humping each other. It's so silly looking at it today, but back then it was like a huge deal. Probably, yeah, I agree. It probably is. Yeah, right here.
I was just wondering, how did God of War get away with a very similar minigame without much backlash?
Well, in God of War, if I remember, you don't actually see it. Like, you hear what's going on, and you play the minigame, but yeah, it goes off screen. The problem with Hot Coffee was, like, you saw everything. Again, they were wearing clothes, but like, I guess the act of humping was the problem. Anyone else before we move on to Jeopardy? Oh, right there in the back with the hat.
So is the ESRB now required to go through code to make sure there's nothing hidden in the game, or is that left up to a third party?
They're not required to go through code, but game publishers have to submit all pertinent content. So, and I think they added super hefty fines if you don't you basically lie about what's in the game. Okay. Shall we play some Jeopardy? Okay. Let's see. Actually, due to copyright concerns, this is actually called Factile. Factile. Yeah. Everyone's favorite game, Factile. Okay. Here we go. So this is, if you were at the panel last year, it's very similar. 3 people will come up here, yeah, basically play Jeopardy. There's no, sorry, Factile. There's no double Factile. There is final Factile, and yeah, that's basically it. So I need 3 volunteers, and I'm not going to choose the volunteers because then people will think I'm biased or something. So, sir, could you please choose 3 volunteers right there? Eating the French fries right there. Yeah, choose 3 volunteers for me.
Let's go 3rd row down, looking at me right now. Yep, Roger. Perfect. Yeah, the guy is already standing, so he's already knows. So, lady in the front. Let's get someone in the back. Look the prop, white hat.
All right. Please, come on up. Have a seat in front of these colorful buzzers. I'm going to need that later, so hang on to that, please. All right, if you could please introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I don't have microphones for you. Do we have a mic we could possibly share? This is very exciting. There's one. Oh. 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 Charge. There's another one. All right, that should be good. We can share microphones. Thank you very much. Enjoy that burger and fries. Okay, please introduce yourself on the end with, the Crystal Pepsi hat.
Hi, I'm Corbin.
Corbin.
I'm Leah.
And Leah.
Mike.
And Mike. Welcome. Okay, Corbin on the end, I will need you to choose your team captain. I have a variety of fruits and vegetables for you to choose from.
Let's go with onion.
Onion. Underdog pick. Not chosen very often. Leah. That's a lemon. Okay. And Mike.
I'll pick the eggplant.
Eggplant. Very popular choice. Audience, I like the audience to participate if nobody up here knows the answer. So, most popular is potato. We'll go potato. Okay. Can you all can see the board? Kinda. Okay. Well, I'll name the categories. So the categories are name that game. Basically, a screenshot of a game will come up, and you have to tell me what the name of the game is. Randomness, which could be from any of these categories. Video games. Yeah. Let's go to court. Hardware and people. Here are the rules. If you want to buzz in, your hand has to be on the table. Okay? Once you buzz in, I will stop reading the question, and you have 10 seconds to answer. Okay? And if you buzz in and you don't give me an answer, I will count it as incorrect, and you'll lose points. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 20. Oh, did you have a question?
Do we have to answer in the form of a question?
You do not. Also, I will be, just because it's easier for me, I will be referring to you as your vegetable or fruit counterpart. It's just easier for me, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 20. Okay, the number was 10. So, Mike, aka Eggplant, you have the board. Choose your category and value amount.
I'll take Let's Go to Court for 500.
Holy moly! You ready? Let's go to court. 500. This senator from Connecticut led the charge against graphic video games, which led to the creation of the ESRB.
Senator Joseph Lieberman.
That is correct. All right, make sure your hand is on the table in order to buzz in. Okay, you have the board, sir.
Okay, we'll do video games for 500.
Super Mario Bros. 2 was based on this Famicom Business System game. Onion. Doki Doki Panic is correct. It's a little trick 500 question. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows Mario 2 isn't a real Mario game. I'm just kidding. Onion, you have the board. Video games for 100. Sega pitched this character after Alex Kidd wasn't very popular. I'm going to give that to Eggplant.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
That is correct. You have the board.
Let's do hardware for 500.
Hardware for, man, okay. Hardware, 500. This NES controller was based on a device used by NASA. It's an early example.
Mattel's Power Glove.
Power Glove is correct.
People for 500.
People for 500. Before Bob Hoskins, this actor agreed to play Mario in the Super Mario Bros. Movie for $5 million.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman is incorrect. Unfortunately, the deal fell through. He would go on to win back-to-back Academy Awards. Ooh, that's Lemon. Tom Hanks is correct. All right, we got it. It's pretty even right now. Lemon, you have the board.
Oh, right.
Randomness for 300. Name that game. Audience.
Mystic Quest.
Mystic Quest is correct. Good job, audience. All right, Lemon, you still have the board. Hardware for 400. Released only in Japan in 1986, this Famicom peripheral used rewritable Eggplant.
Famicom Disk System.
That is correct. Eggplant, you have the board again.
Let's do Name That Game for 500.
Name that game for 500. Oh, boy, Onion on the end. That is Super Mario RPG. You are correct. Onion, you have the board, sir. Hardware for 2. I like how you guys are randomizing this. This is good. Most people just go down the category. Hardware for 200. Released only in Japan, this console could play GameCube games and...
It's the Panasonic Cube.
That is correct, the Panasonic Cube. Play GameCube games and DVDs. You have the board, Eggplant.
Let's do People for 400.
People for 400. Inventor of the Game & Watch.
Gunpei Yokoi.
That is correct. Gunpei Yokoi.
I guess we'll try Randomness for 500.
Randomness for 500. In 1999, 2 emulators were released commercially that allowed you... I think that was Eggplant.
Bleem.
Bleem is correct. I would have also accepted Virtual Game Station. Got a super fan over here. Eggplant.
We'll do Let's Go to Court for 400.
Let's go to court. Nintendo sued this company for the Game Genie, claiming it was a derivative work. Eggplant.
That would be Galoob slash Comerica.
I'll take Galoob. Galoob is correct. You have the board still.
Video games for 400.
Video games for 400. The sequel to Star Tropics, and don't just say Star Tropics 2.
Zoda's Revenge.
Zoda's Revenge. That's correct. You have the board still. Well, you gotta choose a question.
Let's do randomness for 400.
Randomness for 400. This arcade game supposedly caused seizures.
Oblivious.
Oblivious is correct. Still have the board. There he goes again.
Name that game for 400.
Name that game for 400. Lemon. Rice Star is correct.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. People for 300. He was the first president of Nintendo to not be a member of the Yamauchi family. Lemon. Satoru Iwata is correct. Hardware for 300. This television had a built-in.
It's going to be the Sharp TV station. Sharp TV.
Need to be a little more specific than that.
I think it's the Sharp game station. That would probably be my closest answer.
It is incorrect. Big claim. Sorry. Anyone else want to buzz in? This television had a built-in Nintendo Entertainment System. Audience? Sharp NES TV. It was that NES part I needed. The Sharp NES TV. Lemon. Still have the board. Let's go to court. This rental store chain was sued by Nintendo. I think that was Lemon. Lemon? Blockbuster's correct. Great job. All right. Video games for 300. This Mega Man game for the Genesis Mega Drive.
Mega Man, the Wily Wars.
Wily Wars is correct. Good plan. You have the board.
You name that game for 300.
Name that game for 300. That was Onion on the end, I believe. Mario Brothers 2 is correct. Hardware for 100. This accessory allowed you to play Master System. Eggplant.
The Master System converter. Or Power Base converter.
I'm gonna have to mark that. Sorry. Anyone else? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Power base converter. All right, Lemon. Let's go to court. After Nintendo released Donkey Kong, this company sued them. Onion on the end. Universal Studios is correct. Onion, you have the board. Randomness. Randomness for 100. What does ESRB stand for? Eggplant.
Entertainment Software Ratings Board.
That's correct. Coming down to the end here.
Do People for 200.
People for 200. Creator of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I
Eggplant.
think it's Yuji, I can't remember his last name. Naka?
That's correct, Yuji Naka.
People for 100.
People for 100, creator of Donkey Kong and Mario. Onion. Miyamoto is correct, Shigeru Miyamoto. Onion, you have the board. Name that game, randomness, video games, let's go to court. Name that game. Onion. Audience? Star Tropics is correct. Onion, still have the board. Let's go to court for 100. This company was known for publishing unlicensed eggplant.
Wisdom Tree or Color Games? Or Color Dreams?
That is incorrect. Lemon. I will accept Atari Games. It is Tengen, but it is owned by Atari Games. I will accept that. That is correct. Lemon, you have the board. Name that game for 200. Eggplant.
Little Samson.
Little Samson. That's correct. Eggplant. You want randomness or video games?
Do randomness.
Randomness for 200. Before Satoru Iwata worked at Nintendo, he was president of this company.
HAL Laboratories.
HAL Laboratories, correct. And the last one. Video games for 200. Before id Software created Doom, they developed this series that gave birth to the first-person shooter genre.
Should be Wolfenstein 3D.
Wolfenstein is correct. Okay, we're going into final factile. Current totals, eggplant 4,000, lemon 1,700, and on the end, onion 1,600. So, eggplant, what do you wager?
All.
And all of it?
Do it all.
You can make it
12, or we'll do 1,000.
1,000. Okay. Lemon,
Go for broke.
go for broke. Onion. Just 1,000? Okay. Potato, all of it? All right. Okay. Let's play Final Factile. Although we have never gotten a true sequel to Super Mario RPG, there are 2 spiritual successors. Name them. That was good. That was good. That was really good. Okay, do we all have answers? Go ahead and pass them down. Okay, eggplant. We have Paper Mario.
Drew a blank. on the other
That's one of them, but I need both of them. So, lemon. Lemon's got just Paper Mario. And onion on the end. Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario. So, the winner, I'll just give it to Potato. The winner of Game Historian Factile 2017 is, come from behind victory, maybe not, Team Eggplant. I did my math wrong, yeah. If only you had bet it all, Onion. You would have been the winner, Onion. That's okay. Thank you guys so much for playing. Eggplant, you are the winner of Factile 2017. You have won a Game Historian poster valued at $5. So please, just come by my booth. It's booth 701. I'm in the arcade. Come by and pick up your prize. Thank you guys so much for playing. I appreciate it. 5 minutes? Okay, we have time for some questions. If anyone has any questions about the show, about life in general, I can try to answer them. With the very colorful hat here.
I was just wondering, has history always been your favorite subject in school and everything?
Video games?
No, history.
Oh. Yes, history has always been my favorite subject, and that is what I went to college for. I majored in history, so always loved history, always loved video games, so this is like the perfect combination for me. Yeah, green shirt.
So I've always liked your kind of style. What made you decide to go with like the PBS documentary style?
A few things. One, I grew up watching PBS, a lot of PBS, so I was very heavily inspired by that. Second, it's kind of this kind of stuff that I like to watch, so I figured why not make something that I would like to watch. And it's just different than a lot of the other stuff that's on YouTube right now. There's no there's no wacky text spinning around everywhere and crazy zoom-ins and all that stuff. I just just like present the information, learn something, enjoy it, and that's it. So yeah, up front here. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, to reveal this next episode, you, sir, in the blue shirt, come up here and stand in front of everyone. This is the next topic for the Gaming Historian. There you go. Thank you for doing that. I just want to make it really cool and special. Yeah, the next episode is on Tetris. It's the biggest episode yet. It's probably going to be 45 minutes to an hour long. Yeah, I'm excited. And I've got a call set up with Mr. Hank Rogers, who, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he kind of was behind all the Tetris shenanigans in the 80s and 90s. So it's exciting. Look for that in a few weeks. That's the next big episode. The G4, it'll be a lot more detailed than the G4 one. Yeah, G4 one's good though, and actually BBC made a really good one too. Yeah. The holding the phone up. No, absolutely not. I wish. That would cost hundreds and thousands of dollars. I like to joke that Major League Baseball, like in some stores they're like, do not serve this man. My picture is in Major League Baseball office. Like, do not let this man make videos. So, one more question. Yes, sir, right there. Somebody made a comment the other day, like a random tweet, and they're like, if you talk about the history of concrete, I would find it interesting. And I was like, that's a compliment, I guess. But, I love video games, but I think if I were to do another history show, and I've thought about doing this because I think it would be a lot of fun, there's just so many like random, weird, cool stories in U.S. history that I'd like to highlight, and I'd like to actually go to the location and film it and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, they canned PewDiePie. Maybe it's my turn to step up. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out. It's time is up. Come see me at my table. Thank you.